Hello! So today we are going to be starting or doing a canvas layout, and I did it as part of a challenge on our Scrapbooking with Me boutique members page. So I was kind of showing you the products that I was going to be using there. I was using a canvas store-bought, and I decided to put down gesso first because I wasn't sure how much coloring or if I wanted to do blending. I really wasn't sure what all I wanted to do. Sorry for the going in and out of focus. It's because it's white, so it's hard for the camera, but just bear with me because it's not going to take me long. So once I get this spread over evenly, I'm going to set it to dry and then work on cleaning my brush. Now that that's done, I'm going to choose, I think it's either 3 or 4 sheets of paper that I want to use for my background for the photo. And I wanted some blues, polka dots. I think there's the yellow one has some blue and yellow flowers. So I'm pretty much just cutting all of these down to 6 by 6. I want to take those little bits off. And then I decided, you know what? I'm going to just cut a few stripes or strips of each one. I was going to cut them down in different sizes because I wasn't sure if I was going to do all banners, you know, like cut the bottoms in a V so that they look like, you know, the flag banners or whatever. I really wasn't sure. I had a vision in mind, but I wasn't 100% sure on how it was going to be executed, but I knew I wanted the different sizes, and I wanted to straighten up my cuts on the photo so that way it was nice and even and straight lines all the way around. And then I knew that I wanted this one to be the biggest because I wanted the photo to sit on top of it. Alright, so then once we were done with our cutting, I was gonna, well, you'll see here. I'm kind of like figuring out how I want to do this. Where do I want to lay these things? How am I trying to get all of this to lay, and yet for you to be able to see all the great patterns, you know? I really wasn't sure. I was liking that, but I was like, you know what, I might need some more time, so I decided to pause, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just go ahead and do it. So I started the camera back up and you can see I was already in the process. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna trust my instincts and just go with it. And then so I'm just figuring out, I know I wanted to use these polka dots, and I had cut, like I said, that little flag end, and I was just trying to figure out where did I want to put it. And sometimes with the ATG gun, once you lay it down, you don't want to try pulling it back up because it like really sticks strong. So I decided to do a couple of like little 1/4 inch strips just to put the blue on the inside here. And anything that hangs off or isn't where I want it to be, then I'm going to just wind up really cutting it off in the end. So I really wasn't worried about it. But I was thinking I wanted to put another blue stripe somewhere, and I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to get it on there. So I decided on that piece that I had left over that I would add it on the one side, and then once I did that last blue piece, I decided I wanted to distress all my edges. So the main page that the photo is sitting on top of, I'm using my Prima Distress tool to kind of tear up the edges. And what I like about this tool is it has a spot for you to drag through and cut up and stuff, but if you lay it down or you use the bottom side of the tool itself, it also kind of, you know, almost like what's the word I'm looking for? the rough sandpaper, or the, you know, where you have to sand stuff down, it makes it nice. I don't know, I just like the way it creates. So like I always go across and I use that edge to kind of cut and tear, and then if I don't like the way something's looking, I might tear it with my hand, cut it with a scissor, and then like try and distress it with the tool again. Once I had it all distressed with the tool, I was like, you know what, I need to add some color. So nothing works better than distress inks. If you don't have them, I highly suggest them, because anything you do, if it's tearing, distressing, you use these tools, the distress inks, and they make it that much better. And at that point I realized I had missed a side, so I just distressed it real quick. And then that's how it's going to go with the photo. So with the mess that I created, I'm just going to clean off my little mat there. And I was thinking what stencil that I want to use to create my background. I decided to go with the chicken wire. I've always liked this particular stencil. So I'm going to use embossing paste. It's from Wendy Vecchi. I believe that's how you say her name, or Vecchi, or whoever knows how to say it, just correct me, okay? But what I love about this white paste is, I mean, it goes on very smoothly. I've used almost my entire jar, which means I'm gonna have to get some more, because I just really, any project that I have, it's the first one I pick up. And I knew the general area where I wanted to place everything, so what I did was I probably put down more embossing paste than I needed to, but I just wanted to make sure all areas were covered. And then I went and cleaned off the stencil and the tool that I used to clean it, because you don't want that to stick on there. It will harden and you'll never be able to get it off. Now this is the Crockle chipboard piece from Blue Fern that I showed on a previous haul video, the one that I did probably last Tuesday, this past Tuesday. So I'm just showing, I'm using the same gesso and I'm covering this particular chipboard piece, because I knew I wanted to use sprays and I wanted to make sure that it didn't just get sucked in by the chipboard. So I'm using the gesso. You know, for the most part, with everything I do, I always try to give you guys tips or things that I've learned. And with this chipboard and gesso, this is what I learned. You have to let it dry. If you are trying to get something done quick like this, you're gonna be frustrated, because if it's still wet, the gesso, the sprays and the inks, they kind of like just run off almost. It's like it doesn't even really set or take. So I was impatient and wanting to get color on it and videotape this, and I didn't dry it with my heating tool. I just immediately started spraying. I was too fast. It worked in the end and I liked what happened, but it probably would have been better if I had let it dry completely. So I just got a random amount of sprays and some like bronzes, golds, stuff like that. And then I have this kind of like a greenish blue. I want to say I got it in a Kick somewhere, but it was Mr. Huey's Color Mist. This one's called Audrey, and it was a little bit more on a teal blue than the papers that I chose, but I just tapped it down. I just wanted a little bit, a hint of blue on there. Okay, so I'm doing kind of the same thing on the actual canvas as well. I use the same color dyes, the browns, golds, and then instead of spraying, because I didn't have a lot of blue ink in the bottle, I used the toothbrush to give me a light mist of the blue all over. And I'm just testing out how the chipboard's going to look on the side and then adding the paper. Now, what I decided to do to get that hooked on or attach the chipboard piece, I had already decided I was going to use hot glue. So that's warming up. But while we're waiting for it to warm up, I decided to try and hit the canvas with the heat tool to try and dry it as much as possible. Because I already told you I have a tendency to go to the next step before something's dry, which can be problematic. And I, at this point, did not want to mess up what we had already done. And you can see how the color and the inks really draws out the texture that we put down with the stencil and the paste. Now, what happened here, which it skipped out on me, but I used a stamp with the Stays On ink, and those are the black spots that you see coming around. We attached the chipboard piece with the hot glue gun, and then for the paper pad I used foam tape and a little bit of hot glue to make sure that it stays down very well. And then once I got that done, I got some more foam tape, put it on the back of the square for where I'm going to mount the photo. And then on the back of the photo, I used my ATG gun to attach that. And I just put a little bit of ink around the photo itself, just to kind of so it would tie in with the rest of the background that we did. Alright, now off camera I'm going to show you what I did with the adding sequins to it. And then at the very end, I took a brush and I splattered a little bit of the white gesso around as much as I could without getting it onto the actual photo. And to complete it, I decided to use this chipboard memories. And you can see I'm just trying to figure out where exactly I want to put it. Once I figured it out, I just used the hot glue. I want to say either hot glue or I used Scotch glue because it was just a chipboard piece, and attached the memories. So thank you guys for joining me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys with our next video.